Congratulations for making it this far to looking at yourself. Now, I wanted to remind people that this has really nothing to do with religion. Actually, the 7 sins were created by Pope Gregory. He was the only pope actually to be a monk before becoming a pope. And what I believe that Pope Gregory the Great was able to do was to tap into the unconscious collective, the collective unconscious that Carl Jung was actually speaking about. The collective unconsciousness is what universally will be felt as different emotions and different parts of our subconscious within our collective conscious that also affects us on an individual basis as well as a whole. And what Pope Gregory the Great was able to do was to tap into the 7 main ideas of what keeps an individual down from ascending further into their higher selves and moving on that path. So he kind of noticed and was tapped into that collective consciousness, and he noticed the things that were keeping people down from what they were really trying to achieve in their life. And so I know that a lot of people think that the 7 sins are actually related only to religion, but actually it was meditated while he was a monk, and these are ideas that are truisms. I mean, we all do know that wrath and sloth and greed and envy and all of these things that are human emotions are actually part of our subconscious in a lot of us. Some people wear them right out on their sleeves, and those are the criminals and people that you see in this world who do harm and go against the law. But then there are people like everyday people in society who have these types of emotions deep within their subconscious. And that's what Carl Jung was actually trying to do, was actually trying to bring to light those aspects of the human so that they can work to purify themselves and can work to transform them into the opposites, which is what I just told you about when I talked about the Palladian spirituality. They are all about transforming what is dark in someone into their opposites. And that's really how we bring forth the Age of Enlightenment to the New Age. So I wanted to be very clear about that this is actually not about religion. This is about human emotions. And Pope Gregory the Great was able to tap into that. And that's what Carl Jung really meant within the context of understanding that we do not become light ourselves if we do not make the darkness conscious first. Meaning if we ourselves are not conscious of our dark sides first, and what keeps us down, keeps us away from the light, that is what he meant. It is not, I think, in the opposite way of how some people have thought, well, let's make the dark come more to the surface and be more conscious and play out in the world. That's not what he meant. He meant that in order to actually transform ourselves and really move towards the enlightened versions of ourselves, we have to first take a look at all the parts of ourselves that is keeping us in ignorance, keeping us in self-sabotaging type of cycles within our life, and how we can move forward and how we can move into truly becoming conscious co-creators rather than simply sleepwalking and being asleep and letting things happen to us instead of actually manifesting the life that we truly want and desire. So let's take a look at sloth. Sloth, I feel, is something I can talk about a lot because I can spend just a whole day of not doing something. It is probably one of my favorite things to do, one of my favorite Valas in the Silmarillion, the idea of Este, who was the Valar of rest and healing within the Grey Havens of Lothlorien. Well, Lorien, which was actually in Valinor, and Lothlorien was kind of a small glimmer of what was in Valinor. So I have a lot of connection to Sloth myself. Sloth is a part of me that truly wants to get things done and do things But unfortunately, a lot of times I am just kind of left to just relax and not really make a move towards anything. Now, the School of Life made a very interesting video and said that it was about fear. And I would agree that part of me, when I don't do something, is because I'm afraid of starting something and then failing at it, so I don't start it at all. So sloth can be looked at as having fear. But it also can be looked at as being in a state of mind in which you just really want peace. You're looking for tranquility and serenity. So what I have done with my shadow self, when I've done my shadow work, and transforming my dark parts into the light parts of myself, I have looked at my sloth as actually me searching for serenity. And how can I search for serenity and actually be active towards it rather than allowing things to happen to me and kind of waste the whole day away, which is what I have done in the past. I can really just be a couch potato and sit on the couch all day and not do anything or read and watch TV. I mean, I love to rest and relax. But there is a part of me in my soul that knows that I am here on earth in order to bring forth some visions and help co-create a better world for others, a more peaceful, more loving, more harmonious world for others. So what I do is I use my desire to be sloth-like and actually put forth the idea that what I am doing is actually reaching for serenity and peacefulness and tranquility. And how can I do that with actually being more active about it? How can I actually spread the messages of peace? How can I help to be a peaceful person while actually getting out there and doing things and being social and putting myself out there into the world so that I can get my energy moving and inspire others. The reason why the Catholic Church looked at it as a sin was in the idea that when a person is a sloth and they are not moving towards actually honoring God, the divine Holy Spirit within, a person who is lazy and not really moving, what it basically is doing is it stops the divine Holy Spirit from actually working through the body, using it as a physical vessel. So it's very true in the idea that if we are from the prime source consciousness, and if we are supposed to be creating wonderful things and amazing things and moving life forward, if we get into the temptations to be very lazy and not moving much and just sitting around all day and wasting our hours, then we are wasting that opportunity given to us in order to actually be a co-creator and to create a wonderful world together. Really, our movement, our thoughts, our words, everything is energy. So if you are just sitting on the couch or in your bed all day long, you are not moving very much energy. Now, it's okay sometimes to do it, and I allow myself to have those days where I just am stuck in my PJs all day long and I don't do anything, because I think that those days are really important, especially if you're somebody that really likes to contemplate life and you're a little bit more introverted in nature and you really just love to be at home and you love to read and you love to kind of immerse yourself in your own world. Those types of lazy days are really well needed, and I love it when it rains because that's kind of my cue to have a lazy day and to not go outside and do things, but actually to stay inside and to just enjoy and rest and relax. And there's something very soothing, and it calls to the resting of the water hitting the windows and causing just this kind of drowsiness, this laziness, this peaceful type of state of being to come over me. So I absolutely love to have lazy days when it rains. But when it's sunny outside and when it's nice outside, I do feel this urge to go out and actually do things and to get things done. And I feel that that truly is the mark of you actually being able to transform and to get out of your state of mind where you are very lazy and you just want to be kind of sloth-like, and you move towards being more of an active service to the prime source that we all come from, the prime consciousness. As the Pleiadians talked about within the Pleiadian spiritual message that I just had left on my channel the other day, the whole point is to act as creation itself, to actually be a co-creator with creation, and to actually bring forth your creative power. So what I want people to do, instead of looking at themselves in a shameful way or regretting that they're being very lazy, I want them to look at themselves as actually a soul seeking for serenity, seeking for peace, trying to step back from society, step back from everything that keeps you very busy. So what I want you to do is to look at yourself as being a soul that is actually seeking for serenity, seeking for peace. Don't put yourself through shame or regret, which I have done in the past when I waste away a whole day and I look at myself and I'm like, I didn't do this, I didn't get this done. Look at it as a way of your body and your mind telling you that you need to take a step back from society. You need to take a step back from work. You need to step back from everything that you are doing that keeps you very busy and go, go, go in this kind of motion. And allow yourself these days where you just do absolutely nothing. And see it as more a time of rest, a time where you can be contemplative about life, you can just enjoy just doing absolutely nothing at all, or you can sit and watch your favorite movies, you can read a book, but don't be so hard on yourself about this part of yourself, because this happens to us a lot, especially when we are kind of burning the candle at both ends and we're doing so much. All of a sudden our mind and our body just kind of shuts down. And a lot of times we sometimes think that it means that we're depressed, when really it just means that we're exhausted. We are physically tired. Society has us always running around. We are in kind of a collective unconscious state where we have to always be working all the time and making all this money and being a success. And this is the unconscious collective that is going on. We have kind of gotten it into our minds over so many ages, and other souls have drilled it into our mind, and they are in unconscious states that really the pursuit of happiness is about making as much as you can and doing as much as you can, when sometimes actually the complete opposite is the truth, where you can just sit out in nature and not do anything. But when you are in touch with the deeper parts of yourself and you are contemplative and reflective about who you are and your existence and what it all means, I feel that that is actually a form of success as well, because some people never even think about those things. So to actually sit back, be lazy, and be sloth-like is actually you reaching for serenity, for peace, and for taking a step back and looking at your life. And sometimes not even looking at your life, but just letting you be in the moment and just enjoying a relaxing day of doing nothing at all. So try not to have shame or feelings of regret, which is something that's easy to carry, especially if you are a more go-getting type of personality. I tend to be more of a B spectrum personality, a little bit more laid back, but I do have type A tendencies as well. So I have this little bit of a mix to me. And I would say that it's very hard for type A personalities who are very organized and very much on the go all the time and have to be constantly moving. It's very hard for them to accept that sometimes there are going to be times where you just don't want to do anything. And that is your brain and your body shutting down for a little bit of a moment in time. I like to think of it as maybe it is the darkness, the kind of the potential for life before the Big Bang. And you can think of it that way, that if everything is dark and in this kind of beautiful inky blackness, and there's really no energy moving around yet, but there is the thoughts for it just like Eru Iluvatar was explained within the Silmarillion, the way that Tolkien saw the prime source, that if we come from this kind of universal mind and this consciousness and this prime source consciousness, there's always a moment in time where it's reflective, not action orientated. And so the reflective period of time is when we have the darkness within the universe, where there is no life. There is nothing except for just inky blackness, peace, tranquility, serenity, and potential is there for energy. So think of yourself in that way, that if you have a day where you are being like a sloth, adorable animal that moves very slow, which is where the word comes from. If you are acting in this kind of way, being very slow, lethargic, kind of lazy, try to look at yourself as being that way only for a temporary time, until you actually do find the motivation in you to actually put your energy out into the world. And if you are having confidence issues and also feeling fearful, you are going to need to look at that as well. So there will be another layer of your shadow subconscious self that you're going to have to unveil. You're going to have to look at your slothfulness and see, well, what's causing all of that? Is it truly you just tired? Are you exhausted from life and what you do normally? Or do you actually have to maybe gain some confidence and some self-esteem and have less fear in you to actually do what you truly want to do and what you truly want to desire? These are all things that you are going to have to reflect on a little bit deeper to really get to the core of who you are, so that you can really reveal the higher self within you. And all of these shadows that we keep in our subconscious are kind of what, in a way, kind of holds us back, and we don't even know it. So once you are conscious of it and you're aware of it, even if you just watch my video and you just kind of think to yourself, oh yes, like I am this way a lot of times, that is a really great step of actually bringing the darkness to consciousness, so that you can work on that and how you can transform that. And I would say that every soul can really look at their laziness as a way of really just you truly desiring peace. You are wanting serenity. So what I wish for all souls to do is to be able to transform their slothfulness into serenity and feeling at peace with being lazy some days and allowing themselves to just be in a peaceful state of relaxation that we truly do need, because the collective unconsciousness is truly, the priorities are a little askew. And when you are sensitive to energies and you are sensitive to understanding the true potential of humans and seeing that within them, and you understand where society is kind of askew in that way. And a lot of times we don't even know it, but our bodies and our minds just kind of shut down. And these are the moments of our laziness that comes over us. So try to look at yourself in a reflective way and a contemplative way and see that truly it is about you just asking for serenity, asking for peace, and give yourself that and allow yourself to have those moments in time in which you truly do allow yourself a chance to relax and recharge your battery, because we are using our energy all the time and our batteries are draining, especially if you're around a lot of people. If you're an introverted type, you're going to drain a lot of your battery. Extroverts actually charge their battery with people, so that's how you can tell if you're an introvert versus an extrovert. I know that me as an introvert, I drain my battery around people, so I need to go and recharge it. So you have to find ways of getting more in touch with who you really are. And this is what this whole new age is really about, is about humans actually coming in touch with the deeper parts of themselves and realizing why they do certain things that they do in order to truly become the highest versions of themselves that they possibly can be on this earth. This is the collective consciousness that Carl Jung was actually speaking about too as well. That when humanity works as a whole on the collective unconscious parts of itself, and when individuals work as a whole on the personal unconscious parts of themselves, together the collective consciousness and the soul consciousness of all souls on earth will actually move earth into a new, brighter society for all. And that is really the goal of humanity. If you haven't been able to kind of read what has been going on energetically, that is where we are heading towards. And that is why a lot of unique type of souls are on earth today in order to inspire that movement, because we have been at a standstill for a very long time. And so our world has been almost in a sloth-like position for a while. And we can't fault it. That's the collective unconsciousness. And so to be conscious and aware of our slothful nature within society and within humanity, what are things that we can work on more together? Can we help the earth more? Sure. Can we help the animals more? Of course we can. Can we actually create and design cities and landscapes that are actually going to incorporate nature and higher technology as well? Yes, of course. These are all kind of ways that we can actually be less slothful as a whole. We can help other people. We can feed the hungry. We can do all of these things. And together that collective unconsciousness will actually become conscious and aware. And the individuals within the collective unconsciousness actually will become conscious and aware as well when they work on themselves. So this is what shadow work is all about. And so take a look at your own laziness, see it, accept it, forgive yourself, and look at it as truly you just searching for serenity. And try to find ways of how you can look for serenity. How can you be more at peace? How can you actually enjoy a peaceful life, a serenity-filled life, while also being active and being a co-creator, an active participant in this reality around you? These are the deeper questions that you're going to have to ask yourself in order to really unveil the shadow self. So, Han and Lei for watching, and I will see you in the next video.